And welcome everybody to our live stream. We've got another coronal mass ejection, somewhat in the earthly zone here. And we'll be back with you in just a quick moment. We're going to play a little track for you here for about a minute and a half. We'll be right back. Tell your friends and foes about the live stream. And we'll go back to the unfolding coronal mass ejection scenario. In the meantime, be right back. And thanks for leaving comments, Kimberly and Danny and Eggnog Dreams. We figured we would, I don't know, sensationalize the title a little bit since it's YouTube. So we keep doing our part to make Earth not suck again. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Don't forget to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Yeah, we've got some additional coronal mass ejection material headed in Earth's direction somewhat. So for you new viewers out there, if you've never seen the channel before, we regularly show imagery from stereo A, and from this perspective, Earth would be off sort of in that direction. From the LASCO C2, it's located at Lagrange point 1. And from Lagrange point 1, Earth would be behind you from the way the SOHO LASCO C2 is oriented. So we've got a little bit of what you'd call a halo ejection, where you can see some ejecta all around the coronagraph obscurement disk, an indication that it is indeed headed in our direction. So while we see a coronal mass ejection striking at the moment, we also see this additional stuff going on. We've got some additional imagery for you here from the SDO. We're going to rock this one back and forth. It came from the northeastern limb, the area a little bit south of sunspot 2965, right about here. And right there is the moment where that occurred. Here it is in slow-mo. You can go find this yourself if you look at the SDO browse data directory there. You can put in today's date and slow it down as we did for the imagery here. But that was what caused that massive CME. The majority of it came from behind the solar limb, it looks like. Now, we don't see any relativistic particles or anything from that. And by the way, thanks for leaving comments, everybody. Let me bring up the comments, as I know I brought up an empty chat there for a moment. Let me bring up the comments here, and thanks everybody for leaving comments. We'll put some imagery of the closest star and what you've had to say about it. Allow me to vanish off the screen. There we go. I feel much better. And again, we figured we'd create a sensationalized title specifically for the realm of YouTube. So yeah, thanks for tuning in from Munda, Kimberly, one of our viewers from south of the equator. Thanks for appreciating the title, Eggnog Dreams. And if you like the title that much, and leave that many comments, you have earned a wrench. So congratulations to our latest wrench recipient, Eggnog Dreams. And thanks for leaving a comment, Hot Trodley from Tatooine. Hey to you as well. So we've got all kinds of stuff going on, geomagnetic unrest happening from coronal mass ejections that apparently our channel was one of the only places on the entire internet to really see it. Although the ESA's solar orbiter did notice that there was an Earth-directed coronal mass ejection or two. Thanks for dropping by, Stephen A. Would that be Stephen Avery of Wisconsin? Let's hope not. Or perhaps let's hope so, as maybe that'll create additional views on the channel. You just never know what'll happen. Let me bring up another musical ditty for you here. This is actually something you can find right on our YouTube homepage at youtube.com/smashomash. And shout out to Henry, a.k.a. Mr. Keebler, and his colleague Al for creating such delightful tracks. We'll be back in about a minute after this. The Smash of Hazard.
Just a good old smash, never meaning no harm. Beats all you'd never saw, been in trouble on social media since before its existence. Straightening facts, smacking down hacks. Someday our viewers might get me, but big tech never will. Making my way the only way I know how. That's just a little bit more than big tech will allow. Just a good old smash, wouldn't change if I could. Fighting the nonsense, it's a neo-renaissance in the hood.
Yeah, so thanks again, Mr. Keebler. Make sure you subscribe to Mr. Keebler's channel, as well as Al, his esteemed colleague. Congratulations on realizing we exist and so on. I figured I would just go live to do a little bit of coverage of the ongoing situation. And I think we've got some geomagnetic unrest happening at the moment. Let's take a look at the geospace around planet Earth. We'll have a look at the polar view and the lunar view. We'll look at the flat Earth view, as well as the spherical Earth view. For all of you not aware that the Earth is croissant-shaped, or perhaps not aware that sheep's bladders may be used to control earthquakes, congratulations on realizing YouTube exists. I'm sure that won't be a detriment to your sanity. We wish you all the best. So we've got, it looks like a fleeting coronal mass ejection here. We're going to go through a couple of different stats, as we would on our daily fields and features segments. And we've recently changed up the format here. We've got a fairly high pressure environment here. It looks like we may have developed a second, third, fourth plasma sphere based on what the space weather modeling framework is telling us about what's going on around Earth's magnetic moment from space. This is viewing about 12 Earth diameters out. It's the magnetohydrodynamic pressure as modeled by the space weather modeling framework for the past 4 hours, when a coronal mass ejection has struck and then largely subsided, as we would largely expect for a rather glancing blow. Here's what's going on the ground. These are the most likely places to see aurora based on the model, at least. And regular viewers may be well aware that you could see massive aurora where there are absolutely no indications on this, and no aurora where there are indications, but at least it's somewhat of an idea based on things like where the dip poles are located. Big spike in the magnetometer happening there. Let's take a look at the polar view from the ground magnetic perturbations, geospace delta B imagery. So here's the polar view. It should show a great record of the coronal mass ejection impact. It's pretty minor, and we're not expecting a huge impact from the one we currently showed as well. So and again, thanks everybody for leaving comments. We will put those back on the screen momentarily. Yeah, so we don't do that many streams on LiveTube these days. NoobTube, you live tube noob, live tube noob. And it's got to do with things like demonetization. Demonic demonetization could be an issue. Anyway, multiple coronal mass ejections striking Earth, and a new one on the way. Again, just to reiterate, the most recent one, which we showed most recently, is quite likely to miss. So you can see the majority of the ejecta here is to the north and west of planet Earth. This would be the southeast. But we do see a bit of a halo here on the LASCO C2 instrument. And let's actually refresh that. Just bear with me a moment here. I'm going to bring up the latest images. So it'll probably show a halo. We'll bring up stereo A as well, since this is a continuing situation. And now I'm just giving you too much insight. You'll be able to make these videos yourself, perhaps, and we invite you to do so, as we would prefer more cooks not spoiling the soup. So there are the most current images, and you can see a little bit of a halo. This coronal mass ejection coming from sunspot 2965, or the area to its south. And let me put your chats up on the screen here. I see we've got quite a few comments, and thanks for everybody leaving comments. Thanks to everybody for leaving comments, I should say. And we do try our best to put out the best and most sensible space weather videos. So as far as everybody doing it daily, I don't see anything comparable. If you see anything comparable, let us know. Drop us a line. Send us an email. We want to know what the best best weather videos. I mean the best space weather videos are out there. So yeah, we've got a little bit of activity happening here. Shall we take a look at the real-time solar wind, as nature is quite interesting? And thanks for leaving a comment. Hashtag Dan the Walking Man. Must be a new viewer. So we'll go to the real-time solar wind here. I think that's right about there. And we'll see what kind of stats we got from this little coronal mass ejection strike. It looks pretty fleeting. Just a minor signal happening there. We see a shift in the phi angle and the BTBZ, as well as the solar wind density, making it up to about 32 protons per cubic centimeter. Not a big change in the speed, as it was a relatively low speed coronal mass ejection. What else you got? We see a change in the plasma temperature. That's a legit signal there, I would say. So that area right there, there's one of the coronal mass ejections. Maybe showing up a little bit late because it was slow. I'm still expecting an additional CME strike here. I think this one just showed up a little later than we expected because of the slow speed. I mean, as you can see right here, the peak speed for that coronal mass ejection strike was only about 400 kilometers per second. So, not a big deal. Now, we are moving into possible geomagnetic unrest conditions. So we were expecting geomagnetic unrest. We do see a big spike here in the magnetometer readings. You can see the BT, the total field, up to 13 nanotesla. That's pretty high. And let's take a look at some additional data sets. A minor spike in the proton flux. We saw a long duration C-class X-ray flare here. And now we see new flaring happening as we make the video. So let's go back to the GOES 16 SUVI. As we should see a brightening happening here. So could be some additional activity happening as we make the video. So that's the glory of live streaming, folks. The glory of live streaming. And thanks everybody for leaving comments once again. I'm going to let those scroll as I let this play. In fact, let's come back to that. And we're going to cut to another track here. I'm going to play about a 2-minute song. And then I'll be right back with you. Since I need a break. So give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that track called When I, which maybe we'll release later. All around the internet. This one's called When I. And again, we'll be right back. Meanwhile, we'll let this play. And put your chats back. All right, so I'm back, and yeah, I just figured I'd do a short stream here, and so some additional activity happening here. Is it an ongoing flare event? Let's take a look at the GOES X-ray flux again. It's updated pretty regularly. We'll bring up the 6-hour chart. So it looks like we've already reached peak flux here. This is just another C-class flare, a C 2.63 X-ray flare. Nothing too exciting there, although there is some additional ejecta headed toward Earth. So we'll just press refresh one more time here. Before we do that, we'll remind you to press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Tell your friends and foes about us. Press the share button. Also follow us on Twitter. We even put up a tweet about how frightened we are. Please leave a comment if you think this coronal mass ejection was caused by Putin. Let's scroll your comments one more time while displaying our Twitter feed, twitter.com/smashamash. And all of you who've left comments and not gotten a wrench yet, we invite you to come back soon, as we are pretty liberal with our wrench distribution, just not on our economic policies. So in any case, Aether Elephant and everybody else, Hexafoos, and so on. If I missed you, I apologize. We are getting to the point where we can't respond to every comment, but we do indeed read them all. So thanks for tuning in, folks. We're going to close things out with some additional imagery here. If you've got a preference, let us know what it is. We will do our best to accommodate that. I'm going to bring up some 193 angstroms here, SDO browse data, and play one more ditty from Golden Cat Productions, which is starting to make its way all around the internet. If you've never heard our original music, Golden Cat Productions has been around since about the year 2000, and it's our custom record label. I don't know what else to say. Besides, it's all original tunes. So we're going to put your comments back on the screen here, play one more track. Let's make an extended one. How about Le Tour de Chance Speed? This one is available on YouTube. If you look up Golden Cat Productions, you'll find it. Here comes full volume. And we'll see you next time at the Smash News Network, Least Busted Dame. In news,